Hi, welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us here with the live cast regarding the Doughnut Hole. So let's get started. So today we're going to talk about the 4 phases of the Doughnut Hole on the prescription drug side. Now I get a lot of questions on, I've heard about this Doughnut Hole, but what does it really mean? How does it work? What's the cost of my medications going to be each month? So I'm going to break it down into there is 4 separate phases of the Medicare prescription drug plan. So the first phase today I'm going to talk to you about is the deductible phase. Now every January 1, when you go to pick up your prescriptions, every plan is a little bit different, but most plans have that $480 deductible. Now this year, like I said, the deductible is $480 on most plans. It's not $480 on all plans. And depending on what plan you're on, the deductibles, the $480 deductible may apply to all tiers or all of your medications, but other plans, maybe it only applies to certain tiers. Now, what we want to do is we want to make sure that you understand though, typically it applies to your brand name medication. So when you go in January and pick up your medications, a lot of times people get hit with that high, $480 deductible. So I'm just going to show you here. This will kind of explain a little bit. This is the first, what we call our deductible phase. So once again, and I know it's a nice, scrumptious looking donut, but it's easiest for me if I can kind of break it down as a visual for you. So right here's the deductible phase, okay? So once again, this is the $480 that you pay before the insurance kicks on. Now remember, every plan is a little bit different, but this is most of the plans for 2022 have this $480 deductible. Okay, so the next phase we're going to talk about is what we call the initial coverage phase. Okay, so this is the initial coverage phase. Now, once that deductible is reached, then you would go into that initial coverage phase where you would pay co-pays or co-insurance. So let me give you an example. So let's say that you started out with a $500 drug. Let's use it like an inhaler because inhalers are pretty expensive. So let's say that you would use a inhaler the first time you went and picked it up at the pharmacy. Of course, you have your $480 deductible to reach. Once that deductible is reached, then you go to what we call the initial coverage phase, which means you pay a set copay or set insurance, or a set copay or co-insurance. Typically, your copay on like an inhaler is going to be somewhere around $40, $45, $50 each time you pick it up. So your initial coverage phase is typically those set numbers, that set dollar amounts that you pay when you go to the pharmacy to pick up that prescription. So you would stay in that initial coverage phase paying co-payments or co-insurance. Okay, now let me bring this back up here again. You stay in that initial coverage phase until you pay out of pocket a total of $4,430. Now, that is not the amount that just you pay. So for example, let me minimize this real quick again so you can see me here. So the way it would work is, let's say that same inhaler that cost $500. Let's say that you only pay $50 at the pharmacy. So you pay $50, but it's a $500 drug. So the insurance company is paying $450. So $450 is being paid by the insurance company. $50 is being paid by you for a total cost of $500. That $500 is coming out of, and we call this like a little kitty or a pool of money. So it's $4,430. So Medicare gives you kind of like this little kitty or this little pool of money. And when you pick up that prescription drug and you're paying the $50 and the insurance company is paying the $450, that total of $500 comes out of that $4,430. So do you see where if you have several expensive medications, you could use up that $4,430 pretty quick. So I've had clients before that they're taking a $10,000 drug or $8,000 drug. They might go through the deductible phase, through the initial phase, eating up that $4,430 and into the donut hole or the catastrophic phase all within 1 month. So here's what happens after you've used that $4,430. Okay. So now you're going to the next phase. So you've used up the $4,430. You're now into what we call the coverage gap or the donut hole. This is where it gets extremely complex. So when you get into the donut hole or the coverage gap, you now pay 25% of that retail cost for that prescription. Okay. So I'm sorry here. There we go. Okay. So you're paying now 25%. So for example, if you go to the pharmacy and they say you're in the donut hole or you're in the coverage gap, let's use my same $500 drug example. You were paying $50, remember? Up at the initial coverage. Now you're in the donut hole. You now are paying 25% of the retail cost. So remember I told you it was $500 in my example here. Well, 25% of $500 is $125. So you just went from paying let's just say $50 copay up to paying $125 copay. Do you see the difference? So when people fall into that donut hole or the coverage gap, that's where a lot of my clients, when they fall into that hole, it becomes extremely expensive for them because they just went from paying a lower set dollar copay to now paying 25% for that prescription drug when they pick it up. So here's really a lot of times what happens is when ones fall into that donut hole, unfortunately, a lot of times it's so expensive that unfortunately clients start skipping medication or cutting it in half. So let's use my inhaler, for example. Let's say you were supposed to take 2 puffs per day, 1 in the morning and 1 at night. Now, all of a sudden, because that drug is so expensive, you're taking 1 puff a day, which is keeping that inhaler an extra 30 days. See what I'm saying? So this is to be very helpful to you. This is to show you why your cost goes up on that inhaler, for example, if you was to fall in the donut hole. Okay. Now, here's a lot of times what I'll tell people is when you go onto Medicare and you go on a drug plan and now you're facing the donut hole, the coverage gap, the cost of medications, a lot of times you can go back to your doctor's office and say, is there some other medication I can take? Because unfortunately, this medication is throwing me in the donut hole. Now, doctors and stuff don't necessarily understand the details, the numbers of the donut hole, but what they do know is when clients fall in that donut hole, unfortunately, they start cutting their prescriptions in half, and some clients just quit taking it because they cannot afford it. So you'll always want to go back and ask your doctor, is there something cheaper that's a therapeutic equivalent that I can go to that would help prevent me from falling in the donut hole so early? And of course, they'll be between you and your doctor to see if they can find something out for you. But basically the way that it works is the donut hole, once you're in the donut hole, you're paying the 25% until the total out of pocket reaches $7,050. Now, I get the question all of the time. So Suzanne, let me make sure I understand. You take the $7,050 minus the $4,430, and that's what my donut hole is? Is that what you're telling me? That's not the way it works. So I want to make sure you understand the way it works. Okay. So once again, once you've used that $4,430, you fall it in the donut hole where you pay 25%. You're paying 25%, but you are getting credit because it's being subsidized while you're in the hole. You're getting credit for a total of 95% of that drug cost that goes towards that $7,050. So once again, that $500 drug, you're paying the $125. It's being subsidized. You're getting credit for 95% of that medication. So once you hit a total of $7,050, you then exit the donut hole. Okay. Then you go into the next phase, which is called the catastrophic phase. Let me show you this again. So now we've talked about the deductible. We've talked about initial. We've talked about the coverage gap. And now you're into the catastrophic phase. Looks like I have a question. Someone have a question?
I think we have a question about copay cards or prescription drug cards that assist with the cost of prescription drugs while you're in the donut hole or while you're on Medicare Part D. Can you address that?
That's a great question. So there are a lot of clients that have come to me at 65 years old, or when they come off of their group and they say, hey, Suzanne, I'm taking this particular medication and I get a copay assistance card where maybe I only pay $5 or $25 for this really expensive drug. Well, the way that copay assistant cards work is those are through the manufacturer. So you have to go back to your manufacturer, because the question that they ask is, do you receive any type of government insurance? Well, Medicare prescription drug plan is considered a government type plan. So a lot of clients that were taking and having and using those copay assistance cards, they unfortunately go away when you go on Medicare prescription drug coverage. So I always tell my clients that tell me that they use those cards, go back to them and make sure that they know you have Medicare prescription drugs, just to make sure that you're not crossing the line on anything. Now, if you're using like a discount card, for example, our Extra Care members, all of you have the Fresh Benny's card that has the prescription discount too. So, like I have, for example, like when my mom goes to the pharmacy, she uses the prescription drug card. She takes any discount card. So take your Fresh Benny's card, take a Good RX card, and say, what is the cheapest way for me to get this prescription drug? So sometimes, like my mom, for example, she'll say, well, I want to use the discount card on these medications because I want to keep me out of the donut hole longer. So you can always do that as well. But just make sure you understand, if you're using a copay card, you have to let them know if you're now receiving Medicare prescription drug coverage through a Medicare Part D plan, because most of those copay cards, you are not allowed to use those once you qualify for Medicare prescription drug plans. Okay, so let's move along to the catastrophic coverage. So once you've went into the donut hole and the total out of pocket has reached the $7,050, you now exit the donut hole and you go into catastrophic coverage. Now, while you're in the catastrophic coverage, you pay approximately 5% for that medication. So you're paying approximately 5%, or $9.85 for brands, or $3.95 for generics. Now, some clients will never have an issue with this donut hole. If you're taking, a cheap medication, that might cost, $20, $30 a month, something like that, you're probably not going to face this donut hole at all. But if you're taking expensive medications, then absolutely this donut hole is an issue to you. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence on making sure that you're on the cheapest prescription drug that will work for you. So here's another example. I had a client come to me the other day, and he took a drug or a prescription drug, and it was not a combo drug, but it was a prescription that had two actual different prescriptions mixed together in it. And those, when I put the prescription in with the mix of the two drugs, that prescription was very, very expensive. So what I had him do is I had him go back to the doctor's office and say, can you take that prescription and split it into 2 separate pills? So he called me back and he said, I talked to my doctor. My doctor absolutely will split it in 2 separate pills. Now it's kind of annoying because I have to take 2 extra pills. However, those particular drugs actually became a generic once they split it. So the donut hole became a non-issue for him. So that's something that we definitely want to work with, is if we see a prescription like that, that's, a drug that has 2 different ingredients in it, so to speak, or 2 different makeup of meds, let's go back to your doctor and say, can I split this into 2 separate prescriptions and see if it's cheaper for me? Looks like I have another question. Go ahead.
Dan, we have a question, a couple of questions actually. The first question is, can you clarify the difference between a copay card versus a discount card?
That's a good question. A copay card typically is for a really expensive medications. And the manufacturer will say, you can get this prescription drug and you only have to pay $25 for that. For example, I don't know if you're familiar with the drug Humera or not, but Humera is an injectable drug. You have to self-inject. Okay, it's an autoimmune disease drug. A lot of clients that have rheumatoid arthritis use that medication. That medication is, I think it's somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 for a 1-month supply. So I've had clients that have went to the manufacturer before Medicare. So let's say it's 60 years old, and the manufacturer says, here, use this copay card, and they pay $25. That's it each month for that medication. So that is a copay card, where you actually get a card and it says, this is a copay card for, in my example, Humera, $25. A discount card is similar to what you have now. It is what you have with Fresh Bennies or Good RX. Everybody knows and have seen the commercials on TV. Hey, use the Good RX, sign up for Good RX. So Good RX discount cards, or even your Fresh Bennies discount card, you can take those to the pharmacy and you can say, I want to run it through my Good RX or my Fresh Benny discount card or through my Medicare, and tell me which one's cheaper. Now, you cannot stack them. You're not going to get your Medicare prescription drug price and a discount from Good RX and a discount from this one. That's not the way it works. You can only use one. But like my mom, for example, what she does when she goes into the pharmacy, she shows her prescription drug card, and then she shows the discount card and says, which one is cheaper? And then she'll run it through whichever one's cheaper. Hopefully that answered your question. Do I see another question?
Yes, absolutely. The question now is, will the out-of-pocket expense that I pay using a Good RX or other discount card apply toward my deductible?
And the answer to that is unfortunately not. Nothing will be applied towards your deductible unless it runs through your insurance. So if you're using your insurance card, your Medicare prescription drug insurance card, then those costs gets applied to your deductible. But if you use a discount card or even pay cash or something like that, unfortunately, none of that would go into the equation of your Medicare prescription drug card. Perfect question.
Looks like the last question that we have for the moment. what if one of the medications that I take is in a high tier or is not on formulary? Is there another way that I can save money on that drug?
Well, these are good questions. So if you're on a drug that's not on formulary, there's a couple of things we can do. Now, we cannot ever guarantee it, especially if this is like mid-year where we're not in an open enrollment period, because we can't change drug plans mid-year. But if your doctor was to put you on a drug that's not on formulary, I would ask you to reach out to us and let us see if we can help you. And what we would do is go to the insurance carrier and see if there's a way we could get a formulary exception. Now, I cannot speak for the insurance company. The insurance company may or may not approve any type of formulary exception, but that is something we could do, is we could go back and say, can we apply for a formulary exception? The other alternative would be is maybe go back to the doctor's office or the prescriber of the medication and see, once again, if there's another therapeutic equivalent drug that you could potentially move to and see if that would work. Another little tidbit, one of my clients, what they were able to do is they were able to then go to the manufacturer of that medication and say, that particular drug is not covered on my insurance. Do you have any patient assistance plans I can go with through you being the manufacturer? So that's another way we can do it. If you want to reach out to us personally, we can, kind of deep dive into it and see what we can do to help you out. Any other questions so far?
I think we're set right now.
Okay, perfect. All right, so moving right along. So once you get in the catastrophic phase, you're going to stay in this phase until either the year starts back over or really you're just going to stay in that catastrophic phase the rest of the year, or until the year starts over. So when it starts back over, once again, all of the drug plans renew on an annual basis. So the plan that you're on right now, your drug plan that you're on currently, is only good through December 31st. So if you're in the donut hole or in the catastrophic phase, some of my clients actually get to the donut hole, but they really don't get out of the donut hole because the year just starts back over. So their medications don't get to that point. They don't ever get to the point where they pay, get to that total $7,000 some dollars and then get to the catastrophic coverage. So really what I wanted to do is just kind of bring this out to you guys because I get a lot of questions, and we're always here to help you answer the questions. Now, one thing I will tell you, we don't have access to your claims. So I've had a couple clients call me and say, hey, can you tell me if I'm close to the donut hole? Because of HIPAA, I don't have access to your claims. But I will tell you that you get in the mail from your prescription drug carrier, you get a printout pretty much every month or every other month. And if you flip that over on the back side, it has all 4 phases broke down: the deductible phase, the initial coverage, the coverage gap, and the catastrophic. And on the back of that document, it tells you exactly where you're at in the process. So if you get one of those and then you want to call me and say, hey, Suzanne, I got this, or, my team is amazing, you can send that over to us. Part of our Extra Care membership is, we're here to help you, explain to you what you get in the mail. So if you don't understand it, send it our way. You can take a quick picture of it, text it to us. We'll look at it and go through it with you. You can scan and email it to us. But giving us that information, we'll be able to go back to you and say, okay, this is the phase you're in now, and this is how much longer you have to get to the next phase. So really what I wanted to do is just kind of do just a quick little live cast, kind of break this down for you. If you have any further questions, obviously we're more than willing to help you. Our team is so amazing here. Oh, see, another question came in. What's the next question?
Can you talk to us about those pharmacy sponsored discount memberships, like the one for Kroger Pharmacy that you buy into? And is that creditable? Does it mean that you don't need a Part D prescription drug plan? And what are the penalties if you don't have a Part D prescription drug plan?
Okay, these are super good questions. Okay, so I get that question quite often is, hey, Suzanne, I can go to Kroger's and buy their in-store discount. I think it's like $35 a year. So it's very inexpensive. I really don't take any medications, or I only take a few cheapy medications. I'm just going to go ahead and buy the Kroger discount. Here's what you got to look for. The Kroger discount program is not a Medicare prescription drug plan. So what that means is if you buy that, which is completely fine, because you can use that as additional discount. Once again, I'll go back to my mom. My mom picks her medications up at Kroger's. So what she uses is she says she actually paid the $35 or whatever it is for the year. It's cheap. When she goes in, she uses her Medicare card, prescription card. She uses any discount cards. And then she also says, hey, run it through your Kroger program and tell me which one's cheaper. But what you've got to be careful of is thinking, well, I really don't need a drug plan because I don't really use it. I'm just going to use this Kroger plan because since it's not a Medicare creditable plan, it's not a Medicare plan. Then what happens is if you pick up a Medicare plan in the future, you're going to get penalized for every single month that you did not have prescription drug coverage. So you must be careful and do not mix up that, hey, I bought this through Kroger's, now I can get all my medications through Kroger's, because that is not a Medicare prescription drug plan. Great question. Did I see another one come in?
I'm not seeing another question at this time.
I appreciate you taking the time. You guys have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.